Please be seated. Good morning and welcome. Yeah. Right? I'm Fernita Tolson. I am Dean of the USC. Why do I have to look down at my name? I am Dean of the USC Gould School of Law and also the Carl Mason Franklin Chair in Law. It is my great pleasure, thank you, to welcome all of you to USC Gould's historic 125th commencement ceremony. We especially want to welcome the family and friends of our graduates. Thank you for sharing this milestone with us. Let's give them an applause. To the class of 2025, let me start by saying congratulations. This is your moment to celebrate, yes. The entire Trojan family is proud of what you've achieved, and you deserve to shine on this special day. But first, it goes without saying that no one is born with a diploma. You have to earn it. It requires effort, it requires dedication, and it requires determination. The truth is, many people had a hand in helping you to reach this point, some of whom are here today, some might be watching on the live stream, and some may be far away, but are here with you in spirit. Your loved ones have been with you through it all. At different times, they were there to support you, to advise you, to listen to you complain, and also to put a smile on your face when you needed it the most. In this way, this is their big day too. For everything they've done for you, graduates, I invite you to turn to your loved ones and give them an applause. Before we continue, I do want to make one important announcement. This ceremony is to celebrate the accomplishments of our students receiving their Juris Doctor and also their Bachelor of Science in Legal Studies. Shortly following this ceremony, another will take place for our students who are receiving their master's degrees. I kindly ask for everyone's help to file out. Try to leave as soon as we're done so that we can allow the next ceremony to start promptly. Plus, you can get a head start on all of the wonderful festivities that I'm sure you have planned for today. Now, we all know why we are here. Today is a very special occasion. It has been years in the making. From our JD students to our undergraduate students, the class of 2025 represents a wealth of different backgrounds and experiences. As individuals, you each traveled your own road and faced your own unique challenges. But this morning, all of you share one thing in common. You earned a degree from one of the most distinguished law schools in the nation. Congratulations. Without a doubt, today is a great day, but even greater things lie ahead. All of us at USC Gould share a sense of optimism as you turn the page to the next chapter of your lives. I know that your role and your leadership status will grow as time goes on. As you reach higher levels of success, be sure to remain a person of high character as well. That way you can always be proud of not only what you do, but also who you are. Along those lines, my message to all of you today is about privilege. Specifically, the privilege that comes with earning a degree from this renowned law school. As graduates of USC Gould, you possess the knowledge and skills to change someone's life. Let that sink in. In the not-so-distant future, you will become leaders in law, in government, in business, in every sector of society. You will have the opportunity to advance and administer justice, improve our communities, and benefit the world. There's enormous power in that type of transformative impact. You're sort of like a superhero, right? And as superheroes are taught, with great power comes great responsibility, right? This is a famous quote from Superman, Socrates, maybe both, who knows, right? But my point is this: use your superpowers for good. In addition, there's one more message I'd like to pass on to you about privilege, and this is a more personal one. It's something that I've come to appreciate more and more as I get older, which is this: the difference between entitlement and privilege is being grateful. Don't get me wrong, you have earned every step of every achievement. At the same time, it is also true that there's nothing wrong with being grateful for the opportunities you've been given, for the doors that were open for you, and for the support that you've been shown. Don't fall prey to the fallacy that anyone accomplishes anything alone. Your family, your friends, your faith, your fellow colleagues, we find help and draw inspiration from those around us. Down the road, inevitably, others will turn to you. There's nothing wrong with paying it forward. Channel your gratitude into a sense of service. To our JD grads especially, please remember that no one is a lawyer unto themselves. We have clients and we have communities whom we serve. At our core, isn't our role in society to serve others? You'll come across countless opportunities to serve and to help those who need it most. Continue being a person of high character. It's what we at Gould stand for. We are a law school committed to the pursuit of academic excellence with a legacy of leadership through service. In this spirit, let me say it has been my privilege and a pleasure to serve as your dean. I cannot wait to see what the future holds for each of you. Congratulations once again. Okay, so that's enough about me. Let me talk about you a little bit, right? Because the class of 2025 is absolutely amazing, and I have evidence to prove my case, as we lawyers do. Let's start with our JD students. When this JD class arrived, your level of academic achievement was record-breaking. You came with the highest median GPA and LSAT scores of any entering class ever. During your time at Gould, you impacted the world around you in positive and meaningful ways. You dedicated your time and talent to helping individuals, families, and entire communities through our clinics, our practicums, and pro bono projects. You showcased your commitment to academic excellence in our award-winning journals and the Hale Moot Court Honors Program. Two of you recently won the nation's most prestigious moot court competition. The JD class of 2025 will represent USC across the nation, including at esteemed law firms in 12 states beyond California, as well as distinguished public sector positions. Some of you will head off to important judicial clerkships, including the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th and 11th Circuits, and U.S. District Courts in California, New Mexico, and Mississippi. One of you was recognized with a national honor, having been selected as the Ninth Circuit Distinguished Bankruptcy Law Student for 2025. And this is just the start. Bigger things are on the horizon. Speaking of which, let me do my deanly duty and emphasize that the number one predictor of bar passage is what? Completing the bar prep course. Thank you. Right? We hope to see you back on campus this summer for study sessions and a simulated bar exam. All right? Yes. All right, so now on to our undergraduates. They are just as impressive. 22 of you are graduating with university honors. 2 with USC's Discovery Scholar distinction, a big deal. And 1 was honored at yesterday's ceremony with a prestigious USC Order of the Laurel and the Palm Recognition Award. This undergraduate cohort also includes 10 first-generation college students, 11 transfer students, and 1 international student. It is worth noting that this is only our second ever graduating class for the Bachelor of Science in Legal Studies. But I know that for a couple of you, 1 USC degree isn't enough. I'm glad you'll be back next fall as graduate students. Today we have the privilege of adding 227 JD and 28 bachelor degree graduates to the USC Trojan Alumni Network. Wherever you go, please know that we are rooting for your success. Please know that you will always have a home here at USC and Gould. Please stay in touch, remain an active part of the Gould community, answer my phone calls and my emails, and help inspire future classes. Class of 2025, congratulations. It is now my pleasure to introduce Vice Dean for Faculty and Academic Affairs, Jordan Berry. Dean Berry is a, Dean Berry is is a leading scholar in tax law, business law, and law and economics. His research has been published in the nation's top law reviews and academic journals. He is the holder of the John B. Milligan Professor of Law and Taxation. Dean Berry will introduce the faculty of the USC Gould School of Law.
Well, thank you, Dean Tolson, and thank you all for that very warm welcome. Congratulations to the class of 2025. I hope you are enjoying. Yeah, go ahead, clap, it's fine. I hope you are enjoying this well-deserved moment in the spotlight. Today is the culmination of your efforts over these past few years. Please be proud of what you worked hard to accomplish, and please know that the entire USC Gould faculty is enormously proud of every one of you. Through teaching and mentorship, USC Gould professors have invested in your growth as individuals and as leaders. Today, we see it all come to fruition. It is now my duty and delight to share a few words to introduce the faculty to your family and friends here in attendance. USC Gould faculty are recognized as world-renowned legal experts, among the most cited researchers in their respective fields, and, equally important, devoted educators. In a number of ways, the past year, our faculty set the bar. I'm sorry for the lawyer pun. The leadership of Gould faculty stretched from local to global, with key appointments to California state committees related to criminal justice reforms and antitrust, as well as the European Corporate Governance Institute. Gould faculty led amicus briefs that helped thousands of US military veterans with disabilities get their benefits reinstated in a federal Circuit Court of Appeals ruling last year. Also, just in the last year, Gould faculty have been selected for prestigious annual awards honoring their scholarly publications, teaching, service, and leadership from the Law and Society Association, the Association of American Law Schools, the Wage Justice Center, Concurrence Antitrust Publications, the Langston Bar Association, and many others. We were also pleased to add several distinguished scholars who deepen the law school's academic expertise in critical fields, from tax policy to tech regulation. 4 faculty colleagues were bestowed endowed professorships this fall as a result of their outstanding scholarly impact. These are only a few examples from the past year. I could go on, but we have another ceremony right after this one, and I'm sure you have lunch plans and so forth. So, on behalf of the faculty, we look forward with excitement to what our graduates will accomplish and how you will shape the future for the better. We know this journey has been challenging, but because of those challenges, you have gained wisdom along with resilience. I also want to convey to you that while you are graduating, you are not leaving USC. You remain part of the Gould family and always will be. We will all be rooting for you and cheering you on. And by the same token, we remain available to you. I speak for the entire faculty when I say that we love to hear from former students. It is a joy to hear about the exciting things they are doing with their lives. And if you ever need career advice or a sounding board, remember your faculty mentors here at USC. I now ask the faculty to rise and join me in sending our best wishes to the class of 2025 from your home, the USC Gould School of Law.
Now I am pleased to introduce our first student speaker from the Bachelor of Science in Legal Studies program. Susanna Andrian is graduating as a double major in legal studies and in philosophy, politics, and law, along with a minor in Spanish. She is a first-generation college student and has excelled academically here at USC. Her talent for legal writing has led to publications in the Georgetown Undergraduate Law Review and the Columbia Undergraduate Law Review. She has earned USC's prestigious University Discovery Distinction, as well as the law school's Outstanding Legal Scholar Award. A dedicated campus leader, Susanna served as president of the Legal Studies Student Association and USC's Pre-Law Honors Society, and was Chief Justice of the USC Undergraduate Student Government. She has already secured a position at Sidley Austin LLP and will be traveling to Oaxaca, Mexico, Susanna is also preparing to apply to law school. Please welcome Susanna Adrian.
Greetings, students, staff, faculty, parents, and graduating Trojans. Today, we stand at the crossroads of past, present, and future. Look around, caps and gowns proudly worn, families beaming with pride, and the air buzzing with excitement. Some of you are adjusting your sashes, others are clutching your phones, like my parents over there, and many are simply soaking in the moment. This is it, the final chapter of our undergraduate journey. But today is more than just an ending. It's a celebration of everything that brought us here, the past. We remember the late night study sessions at Levy, the collective sigh when we realized that 20-page case outline was not going to write itself, the laughter shared with friends over dining hall meals, and of course, the sting of second-guessing an exam answer that was right the first time. Today is also about the future, the one we've spent years preparing for. As graduates of USC Gould, we don't just walk away with knowledge of the IRAC method. We carry forward the values that have shaped us, the commitment to justice, the responsibility to serve, and the courage to make a difference. At Gould, we dissected landmark cases like Gideon v. Wainwright and Brown versus Board of Education, understanding that law is not just about interpreting statutes, but about challenging injustice and affecting change. These weren't just cases in our textbooks, they were reminders of the work that was still left to do. They encouraged us to think critically about how the law, while a powerful tool, is also a work in progress. We learned to be skillful, argue persuasively, and most importantly, serve with integrity. We were challenged to see the law not as something distant and rigid, but as something living, something we have the power to shape for the better. For me, that commitment to justice was reinforced through my time as a Justice Corps member, where I witnessed firsthand the struggles of our underserved community in Los Angeles, navigating a complex legal system. The first time I stepped into the courthouse and saw a line of individuals stretching down the halls, wrapping around the corners, and spilling out the doors, I was struck by a sobering realization. Our legal system, the very institution meant to serve and protect, still leaves so many behind. Each person in that line has a story, a struggle, a plea for justice, yet too often the system felt like an insurmountable barrier rather than a guiding hand. That moment was more than just an observation. It was a call to action. It reminded me why I chose the path in the first place and how the values instilled in me at Gould will shape the kind of lawyer I aspire to be. And that takes courage. Courage to challenge the status quo, to fight for the voiceless, to uphold justice, even when the path forward is unclear. It's the quality embodied by Thurgood Marshall, fighting for civil rights, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, challenging gender discrimination. As we step into the world, some of us will fight wrongful convictions, draft legislation, or stand up for vulnerable communities, choosing the right path, even when it's not the easiest. The Trojan spirit is about resilience, determination, and an unwavering commitment to make a difference. It's what pushed me to take on leadership roles, such as the president of the Legal Studies Student Association and the Blackstonians Pre-Law Honor Society, where I work to create opportunities for aspiring legal professionals to grow, connect, and prepare for their futures. It's what drove me to advocate for fairness and accountability as Chief Justice of the Undergraduate Student Government. It's what led me to pursue legal studies at Gould, where I deepened my understanding of the law as a tool for equity and systemic change. These experiences will guide me through the challenges ahead, the difficult client who distrusts the system, the case with no clear path forward, the moment when the facts seem stacked against us. My cap is falling. Okay. And when we all end up facing these moments, we will remember what we learned here, that the law is not static, it is shaped by those who practice it. That justice is not automatic, it is fought for by those with the courage to demand it. And just as we stood at the crossroads at our first day at USC, unsure of what lay ahead, today we stand at another. We leave here not just with the knowledge of the law, but with the responsibility to use it, to defend the vulnerable, to challenge the unjust, to strengthen the very institutions we once studied in textbooks. This is our moment, not just as graduating Trojans, but as advocates, as changemakers, as future attorneys, lawmakers, and leaders. Sitting here today are the next generation of legal minds, ready to make an impact, interpret, challenge, and redefine justice. Congratulations to the class of 2025, and as always, fight on.
That was fantastic. It really was. So our next student speaker is the president of the JD graduating class. J. Ma, all right. Jacob Ma has accomplished a lot in his time here at Gould. He has held leadership roles with the Student Bar Association, with Outlaw, with the USC Graduate Student Government, and served as a TA for both the law school and the business school. He also represented Gould in 3 national moot court competitions, winning Best Oral Advocate in Antitrust, and finishing as national runner-up in intellectual property earlier this year. He holds bachelor's degrees in biology and chemistry and a master's in bioethics from Case Western Reserve University, and he has previously worked at Deloitte and Qualtrics. Following graduation, he will be joining the Boston Consulting Group's Los Angeles office. Please welcome our 3L class president, Jacob Ma.
All right, before we get started, I'm going to take a selfie. Good morning, esteemed faculty, families, friends, and most importantly, the USC Gould School of Law class of 2025. It feels truly surreal to be standing here today. 3 years ago, many of us walked onto this campus with a healthy dose of excitement, and we quickly realized that being in law school is much like being a Lakers fan. You sign up for the highs, you survive the lows, and you never really know what's coming next. Sometimes you're celebrating a blockbuster trade, and other times you're watching us lose and blow a 20-point lead in the 4th quarter and wishing you could just move to dismiss the entire game. As our friend Sipan used to say in civil procedure, that's just a classic 12v6 situation. But through every twist and turn, we made it. No matter where you came from, whether it was straight from undergrad or from another career, we all arrived at this moment. That is worth celebrating. Law school is no easy feat, and if you ever doubted whether you belonged, let today be proof. You do. We all do. Our journeys have been both similar and yet wildly different. Some of us spent late nights in the library, others in clinics, journals, and student organizations. I, as you just heard, found myself in 3 moot court competitions, becoming so competitive that I forced my teammate Jen and I to argue against ourselves just for the extra practice. And honestly, after arguing against myself, I finally understood what my friends have been putting up with all these years. I'm really surprised I never received cease and desist orders. Now, whether we were preparing for arguments, editing journal articles, or organizing events, each of us found our own way to connect and grow. And families, don't worry, we still made time for regular outings and celebrations like birthdays, and had fun while studying, because, as our friend Tyler likes to say, as is tradition. We capture these moments, big and small, and in my case, through hundreds, if not thousands of photos. Our friend Sadie can attest to this, and actually now all of you can attest to this as well, that I have an insistence on taking just one more picture. A habit that may be annoying, okay, is very annoying, but ensures we'll never forget the faces, the laughter, and the memories we made together. We capped off our time together in style with our 3L Gala on a boat cruise. Certainly one of the highlights of my year, and I'm personally proud to say I did not fall into the marina, despite winning most likely to. I consider that a big win. But the heart of this journey has always been the people. When I lost my grandmother earlier this year, it was my friends and this community who lifted me up and reminded me that love endures, even across distance and loss. For that, I am deeply grateful. As we look ahead, it's important to remember that our paths forward may look very different. And that's not just okay, it's something worth celebrating. Some of you are heading to law firms, others to clerkships, public service, or entirely new adventures. Now for me, part of my path was making the very difficult decision to step away from a legal career and into strategy consulting. It wasn't the traditional path, but it was the right fit for me. And if law school has taught us anything, it's that the right answer may not always be the most obvious one, and that happiness and authenticity matter just as much as any job or title. No matter where we go, we are bonded by a shared experience, one that was challenging, transformative, and at times a little drama-filled. The hard work we've put in, the friendships that we've built, and the resilience we've shown will pay dividends for years to come. This was an investment, not just in our careers, but in ourselves and in each other. To everyone who made these past 3 years unforgettable, thank you for your laughter, your support, and your willingness to take just one more photo. To my extended family in China, to all the families who have welcomed me into their own, including the Neos who are here today to support me, and to all of the families and friends here and watching virtually, thank you for your love, your encouragement, and your unwavering belief in all of us. We couldn't have done this without you. As we go forward, let's remember to celebrate our differences, support one another, and never stop searching for what makes us happy. And if you ever find yourself doubting the path that you're on, just remember, you survived the morning commute in LA traffic, the annual tuition increases, and yes, even Corinne Monkseal. You can handle anything. Congratulations, class of 2025. The future is ours. Let's make it extraordinary. Fight on.
I'm not gonna ask who Corinne Markseal is. Okay. All right. The 2-inch increase is okay, I get that. All right. Our final student speaker is the president, yes, boo, is the president of USC Gould Student Bar Association, Evelyn Moradian. It's okay, she's awesome, yes. During her time at Gould, Evelyn was very busy, to say the least. In addition to being SBA president, she was also the administrative vice chair of the Hale Moot Court Honors Program. Her long list of contributions to the law school include serving as Student Life Fellow, Research Assistant, Teaching Assistant, Campus Ambassador, Tutor, and Student Leader in the Molina First Generations Professionals Program, Armenian Law Students Association, and Disability Law Society. In other words, she is Batman. Upon graduation, Evelyn will join Simpson Thacher Bartlett's Los Angeles office as a corporate attorney. She will also continue working on the startup team for Yellow Applications. Please welcome our SBA President, Evelyn.
All right, thank you, Dean Tolson, for that warm welcome. Before beginning, I must express what an honor it is for me to address an audience of some of the most intelligent people I have ever met. Serving as this student body president has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my entire academic career, so I thank you all for that. I also want to acknowledge those in the audience that are not only here to celebrate with us today, but supported us the last 3 years. The audience is composed of people that we knew before law school, but also new faces, new friends, and even a few babies. But the audience is also full of some empty seats for those we lost along the way. We've been through much change, but good or bad, it's important to recognize how significant that growth has been. Now, I don't want this speech to be a long-winded recap of the successes and glory days of law school, nor do I want it to be a stereotypical analysis of the failures and awful days we've experienced together. Both of these things are known amongst the student body. We remember the good days and we remember all the bad days. So what could I possibly say to an audience as accomplished as the one before me? Well, when I started drafting this speech about a year ago, I decided to focus on the unexpected nature of law school, but also life generally. What do I mean by this? There are some things that we all expected to experience coming into law school. We expected challenging academics, competition, etc., but there are a lot of things that we didn't expect to experience, or at least I didn't. I didn't expect the amount of failure I encountered. I presume no one expected this aspect of law school. I know we all failed in some respects, and no one really expects that part of life. Failure to the point of hopelessness, in fact, at different points. All for it to culminate to this moment where everything seemingly worked out okay, right? I didn't expect to meet mentors that were willing to go above and beyond for a young student they just met. I suspect no one expected this aspect of law school either. Mentors that were willing to advocate for you when you weren't there and asking for absolutely nothing in return. I didn't expect to come face to face with my pride so often. I suspect no one expected this aspect of law school either. Sitting on the floor of the hallway in front of a professor's office, waiting for them and hoping that they might answer one more question the evening before an exam. Admitting to ourselves, despite our pride, that we were still confused and a little scared. So we walk away with lessons that we didn't expect to learn in law school. Lessons about hope, trust, pride, loss, love, and failure. Lessons that will shape who we are, not only as legal professionals, but as people throughout our lives. Now, I don't have wisdom to share with you all because my wisdom is the result of everything I've gathered from everyone here today. It would be unfair for me to claim to own some advice to give to all of you when in reality I've just learned from everyone in the audience. But what I can do is leave you with a reminder about the unexpected and hope. Because where we go next will have unexpected goods and unexpected bads, unexpected consequences, and unexpected benefits. While we study for the bar, travel, start work, switch jobs, start families, retire, and so forth, there will be unexpected lessons. So, how do we continue to walk in the unexpected? Doesn't this stress anyone else out a little bit? If you told me 3 years ago the amount of unexpected challenges, but also successes that I would experience in law school, honestly, I would have panicked. I would consider that to be terrifying because the unexpected is inherently terrifying. But now, I know that there are some things you just need to dive into not expecting anything, or at the very least, preparing yourself to come face to face with the unexpected. And maybe that's a little cliche, so I apologize. Again, a year of drafting this speech was not enough to root out every single cliche. But there is something to be said about this lived experience we all share, right? The fact that we all experienced something in the last 3 years we didn't expect to experience. And as you're sitting here, some of us are reflecting on an unexpected good thing that came into our lives during law school. And to those students, I say that that should invoke real hope for the future, a hope that the good to come is something that we can't fathom right now. So just imagine how amazing life is going to get. And there are those of us that are reflecting on the unexpected bad things that we've experienced in law school. And to those students, I say, that should lead to more hope as well. Because whether you're ready to admit it to yourself or not, we've completed one of the most challenging academic degrees possible. And we're here, despite the very challenging, unexpected bad days. So I have no idea what tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, or the rest of our lives will look like. I have no idea what it's going to be like to be a legal professional. None of us do. But what I can say is that we can have hope that it will either be absolutely amazing, or even when it's not, we will be able to endure it. And I leave you with that, this reminder of hope, right? I pray that we all leave this ceremony with more hope. Because life, and specifically the legal profession, can have a tendency to weigh people down sometimes. But if we leave with this reminder, maybe we can carry with us a sense of joy that other people might not have, because our joy is rooted in the idea of hope. And with that reminder, I have one chance to congratulate my peers, so I'm going to revel in it for just a second here. So wholeheartedly, thank you all. Thank you to our peers, the faculty, deans, staff, our friends, and our family. Thank you to USC Gould for entrusting me with this position this year, and for being a home for me for the last 3 years. Congratulations, JD Class of 2025. It has been an absolute honor to serve you all.
At this time, I'm delighted to introduce our keynote speaker. We don't always have a speaker who's been interviewed on The Late Show or Ellen or HBO's Real Time, but we do today. Our keynote is widely known for being a public servant, a national public figure, and perhaps even as a bass guitarist. Okay. Beto O'Rourke is a fourth-generation Texan, born and raised in El Paso. He has served as a small business owner, a city council representative, and as a member of the United States Congress. He continues to work on expanding voting rights and defending our country's democracy through his organization, Powered by People. He is the author of We've Got to Try, a book that tells the stories of previously unknown civil and voting rights champions from our history to inspire the future. Beto is a graduate of Columbia University. He is married to Amy O'Rourke, and together they are raising their children, Ulysses, Molly, and Henry, in El Paso. Please welcome Beto O'Rourke.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dean Tolson, thank you to the faculty and the staff, all of the employees, everybody who works here at USC, whatever their position or place, who makes this place and today possible. These absolutely amazing student leaders that we just got to hear from, the family members and these proud parents who I can see beaming all the way at the back, justifiably so, and especially each one of you, the 2025 graduating class here at the Gould School of Law. Thank you for the invitation to join you, to be with you on this day of celebration, and to offer these brief remarks. I come here today both to congratulate you, but also to remind you of your extraordinary good fortune, this opportunity you have right now to serve and potentially even save this country in its hour of need. You see and you are well aware of what is happening to, within, and even coming out from this country right now. The incitement to political violence, the abnegation of hard-won alliances, turning our back on human suffering and human rights at home and around the world, the attacks on universities, on students, especially international students, exercising their First Amendment constitutionally protected rights, attacks on law firms who have the audacity to challenge this administration. The rollback of the right to vote and other foundational freedoms here in America, and perhaps most alarmingly to you, the undermining of the rule of law and the U.S. Constitution. Given your education, everything that you have learned here over the last 3 years, I think you understand the implications of all of this better than most. This is a real, and I believe clarifying moment of truth for America. And within this moment, we're going to be asking ourselves, as Americans, some very important basic questions like, will we submit to the powerful and the strong, or will we continue to be ruled by the law? Will we honor the foundational premise of this country, that we're all created equal, and the promise that flows from that we will all be treated equally under the law? Will this great democracy, the exception in the history of the world, and really still the exception on much of the planet today, will it persist or will it perish? Will we still be a government of, by, and for the people? I believe that as both students and now practitioners of the law, within your hands is the power to answer each and every one of these questions, not just for yourselves, not just for your generation, but for all of the generations to come. Now, you can be forgiven for wondering whether that's really true. When you think about what is in your hands, and you look at the concentration of political power in the hands of the president, for example, or economic power in the hands of the oligarchs, or even cultural power in the hands of the billionaire masters of algorithms and influence, what is in your hands that compares to what is in theirs? Or maybe put another way, is there any hope that people such as you, such as all of us, outside of the traditional centers of power, will be able to save this country? I would argue it is the only hope we have of saving this country. It's the only way this country has ever been saved in the past. And I further believe that we are going to overcome these challenges because we've overcome them before against even greater odds, and always through the power of people. To illustrate this, I'm going to draw you to my hometown of El Paso, Texas. More than a century ago, to this guy that you may or may not have heard of. His name is Lawrence Aaron Nixon. Really kind of an amazing guy who moves to El Paso at the turn of the last century and becomes as publicly and politically involved in El Paso as anyone. He helps to write the bond issues for the El Paso charter elections. He never misses a chance to vote or to participate in an election. He founds the first chapter of the NAACP anywhere in the state of Texas, and he does it in El Paso in 1915. He is as civically engaged as a man, especially a black man, could possibly be in the Jim Crow South of Texas in the 19-teens and the 1920s. So imagine what it felt like to him when the Texas State Legislature in 1923 passed what is known as the White Primary Law, which banned voting by Dr. Lawrence Nixon and every other African American in the state. And unlike other states of the former Confederacy, Texas did not do this euphemistically. They didn't ask you when you wanted to register to vote if you were black to tell us how many jelly beans are in the jar, or to recite this part of the Alabama state constitution, or to pass a literacy test. No, in Texas, in black and white, it said, if you are black, you will no longer be able to vote. Nonetheless, or maybe because of this, the next year, 1924, Nixon pays his poll tax, a requirement at the time for anybody to be able to vote. Goes to fire station number 5, his typical polling place on election day, and waits in line to vote. Imagine how he must have felt and what he must have looked like to everybody else there who was getting ready to cast their ballot. When he gets to the front of the line, he produces his poll tax receipt, lays it down on the counter, and the election judge and the poll worker, both of whom recognize Nixon on sight because the guy's never missed an election before, they say to him, "Dr. Nixon, you know we can't let you vote." And Nixon responds, "I know you can't, but I've got to try." He takes his case to the local district court, loses it immediately, appeals it all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And in 1927, and you perhaps have studied this, he wins this signal voting rights victory before the highest court in the land, Nixon versus Herndon. He is now able to vote, only to have the Texas legislature convene an emergency session, rewrite the election code to circumvent this recent Supreme Court hearing, and once again disenfranchise Nixon and hundreds of thousands of other Texans. The next year, Nixon pays his poll tax, goes to fire station number 5, waits in line, is turned back, takes his case to the local federal district court, loses it, appeals it to the Supreme Court, and in 1932 wins a second Supreme Court victory. 2 victories. What am I doing with my life, right? You may have studied this one as well, Nixon versus Condon. Once again, he is now legally able to vote, but once again, the legislature convenes, rewrites the election code, circumvents the ruling, and he's disenfranchised. But this guy, Lawrence Nixon, never gave in, and he never gave up. He kept paying that poll tax, he kept waiting in line, he kept getting turned back, and it was a lonely journey. The radio station in El Paso took to calling him on election day, putting him on air for their listeners. "Dr. Nixon, are you going to vote today?" And he'd always respond, "I'm going to try." But that example, a man having the courage of his convictions, was not lost on his fellow Texans. Another young black physician, this time in Houston, Texas, Lonnie Smith, working with a 32-year-old Thurgood Marshall, takes a case to the Supreme Court, again, building on Nixon's arguments and that precedent. And in 1944, the court decides Smith versus Allwright, finally integrating once and for all elections in Texas. 20 years of patience and persistence and courage and hard work, and these people stayed after it. Election day in 44, Nixon goes into fire station number 5, waits in line, produces his poll tax receipt, and this time he voted. But the story and its impact don't end there. In that same town of El Paso, Texas, 10 years later, Thelma White will graduate valedictorian of the all-black Frederick Douglass High School in El Paso, Texas. She will attempt to enroll at Texas Western College, now known as the University of Texas at El Paso, and will be turned back solely based on the color of her skin. Following Nixon's example, she takes her case to the federal bench, but she wins, and she doesn't just win admission for herself, she wins the desegregation of every public institution of higher learning in the state of Texas. The story doesn't end there. 3 years later, in that same town, Raymond Tejas will be elected the first Mexican-American mayor of a major American city. And then 5 years after that, his city council colleagues will pass the first ordinance to desegregate places of public accommodation anywhere in the former Confederacy, a fact not lost on then President Kennedy, nor his successor, Lyndon Baines Johnson, the first president from the state of Texas, who uses all of the political capital at his disposal once he enters the highest position of public trust in the land to pass and then sign civil rights, ending 90 years of Jim Crow segregation in the United States of America. On the heels of that victory, there's this meeting that you may have heard of that takes place in the Oval Office. It is with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Andrew Young, and President Johnson. And King and Young say to the president, "We owe you an eternal debt of gratitude for civil rights. But with all due respect, Mr. President, now we would like to vote." And the president says, "Gentlemen, you're right. I'd love to help, but I just don't have the power to get voting rights done in America. I used it all on civil rights." As they leave, a dejected Young turns to King and he asks, "What do we do now?" And King says, "We go out there and we get this guy some power." Over the coming days and weeks and months, everyday Americans, just like you, just like all of us, we took to the State House steps. We burned up the switchboard at the Capitol. We wrote to the president. We marched. We protested. We did everything we could think of to try to break through. Until on the 7th of March, 1965, one of us actually did. A 24-year-old John Lewis, leading 600 other marchers, attempts to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. And for his having the courage of his convictions, he's beaten within an inch of his life. But so shocking to the conscience of America, so galvanizing is that heroic step that he took, that within 8 days, Johnson's able to convene a joint session of Congress. Johnson finally had the power that had been missing, and it didn't come from money, it didn't come from title, it didn't come from political office, it came from the people. And in that speech that he gave, this voting rights speech on the 15th of March, 1965, he placed Lewis and all the other civil rights and voting rights leaders in the pantheon of great Americans who have made us who we are. As it was at Lexington and Concord, he began. As it was 100 years ago at that courthouse in Appomattox, he could have added, as it was on those beaches in Normandy in 1944, where brave Americans bravely fought off fascism to defend democracy here at home, so it is today in 1965 in Selma that everyday Americans are willing to lay down their lives so that this country can fulfill its purpose and its promise to ourselves and to the rest of the world. And all they ask, members of Congress, is for the right to vote, and you have the power to confer it. That summer, Johnson is able to sign the Voting Rights Act of 1965 into law, creating, for the first time in American history, something truly approaching a real democracy. But that story, their impact and the implications, the inspiration, it doesn't end there. Just 6 years later, imagine this, those of you who are graduating right now. A 26-year-old Sarah Weddington begins her arguments before the United States Supreme Court in the case that we all know now as Roe versus Wade. She's 4 years out of law school. The most complicated case she's handled before is an uncontested divorce. And yet this young Texas woman is able to prevail upon an all-male United States Supreme Court to protect one of the most basic foundational freedoms that we have as human beings. She didn't wait for somebody older or more experienced or more conventionally powerful to do this for her. She took the matter and that power in her own hands. And by winning that decision, extended it to countless Americans for generations to follow. But it is those freedoms, that Sarah Weddington and others won for all of us. It is this very democracy that countless Americans have sacrificed and lost their lives for. It is all of that that is under attack right now. And so the question you might ask yourself is, what can I do about this? And perhaps the better question that we ask of ourselves is, what can all of us do about this? And to answer it, I'll invoke a higher authority from another time in American history. 1858. Think about just how contentious and divided and polarized the country was then. Think about the questions that America was about to ask itself and the answers that would be delivered over the coming Civil War and Reconstruction and its aftermath. Well, in that year, a young attorney, former congressman, running for Senate in a race that he would lose, gives a speech about the nature of power in America. You know, you have the power of the presidency, the legislatures, the courts even. But more powerful than all of that, Abraham Lincoln said, is all of us. In that speech, he says, public sentiment is everything. With it, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. He was talking about our power to politically push those in these high positions to do the right thing at these moments of truth. He anticipated what would be needed for the abolition of slavery, for the civil rights and voting rights leaders that we just talked about. He anticipated all of us at this moment, because I challenge you to find another time in American history where more is on the line for all of us, where the very question of America hangs in the balance. We know those other times. Johnson described them in that speech in 1965. As it was at Lexington and Concord, that courthouse in Appomattox, Normandy, Selma, so it is today with all of us. And I want you to know, and I hope that you feel this, you are the heirs to all that service and sacrifice and struggle that won America through every one of those tests and trials that we've been through before. What you do with this inheritance will define you in the eyes of history and will determine what is possible for this great country. But to this great endowment, you add your own achievement, your own hard work over these last 3 years and over the course of your life, your service, your struggle, your sacrifice, which I believe positions you to lead this country right now, to restore justice and lost freedoms, to uphold the rule of law, and to safely deliver what Lincoln called the last best hope of earth to the generations that will follow yours. History is watching. The world is waiting. So, no pressure, class of 2025, but you cannot be found wanting at this moment of truth. All of us are counting on all of you. But I know that I speak for everyone here, for your parents as well, on this next point. And that is that we believe in you. We know that you can do this. I want you to remember to keep the faith in yourself, in your colleagues, in your classmates. I want you to remember to keep up the fight, to fight on, no matter how hard or how long that fight is going to be. Congratulations to you, class of 2025. Good luck to you and good luck to this country. We cannot wait to see what you do with it. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for those remarks. I know those students who took common law with me are sitting there like, yes, thank you, Dean Tolson, for teaching us the white primary cases. You are welcome. Before we confer the degrees, I want to take a moment to thank the staff and volunteers who have worked so hard to bring this great celebration together. Thank you so much. This event requires pretty enormous effort and extensive collaboration. If you pass by any one of our team members in the cardinal-colored USC Gould t-shirts, please be sure to show your appreciation. A kind word goes a long way. They really deserve it, so let's give another round of applause for those folks, please. At this time, I'll call Vice Dean Jordan Berry to return to the podium to acknowledge the degrees.
Thank you. Hello again, class of 2025. It is my privilege to acknowledge the degrees that each of you has earned. Graduates, will you please stand? On behalf of the faculty and the administration of the Gould School of Law, we acknowledge the degree conferred upon you by the University of Southern California. I congratulate you on earning your degree. I hope you and your loved ones are proud of this milestone.
It is now time to confer the degrees. We will begin with the Bachelor of Science in Legal Studies, followed by the Juris Doctor degrees. Members of our staff, may I ask that you please take your places so we can begin the procession.
Ella Grace Johannes, Michaela Dorantes, Brandon Nelson Gonzaga, Nolan Hunter McDowell, Corinne D. Otterness, Kylie Kwan, Ivan Joseph Lescano, Gretchen S. Betts, Chloe Powell, Logan LaDuff, Michael James Apfel, Miles Lopez, Gayane Papikian, Jessica Elise Davila, Kylie Mary Matthews, Jenna L. German, Ariana Sarien Ibru. Ty Navarro. Isabella Rosa Marie Neems. Brian Lai. Luz Clarissa Rosales. Laura D. Mendez S. Brianna Ashley Sanchez. Caroline Helms.
Susan Kong.
Susanna Andrian.
I am now delighted to confer our Juris Doctor degrees.
Benjamin Schneider. Charles E. Murphy II. Joseph Jacob Kalarian. Christine Hosrovian. Aneri Parekh. Alina Wan. Mariam Nazir. Natalie Ruth Briones. Mariam Daoud. Aaron Park. Julie Liu Laporte. Sydney L. Judilla. Michael A. Crawford. Delfert C. Smith III. Nicholas J. Perez. Bishop Matthew Walton. Lauren R. Roberts. Raina Innocent. Tara Steinmetz. Kyle Faulkner. Erica Bade. Gabriella Franco. Maggie Jablonski. Mitchell Price. Justin K. Lynn. William Frederick Brown. Samantha Lee Pietenpole. Hannah Michelle Jacobs. Brett Jennings. Jennifer Hart Wace. Elizabeth Alberta Miller Shy. Rachel Way. Shritika Dahal. Josiah Nalia Jefferson. Michelle Meyer. Jacob Maxwell Carlin. Connor Wayne Arden. Sydney R. Norris. Alana Berger. Joseph Michael Keeley. Anna L. Barbier. Naira Khali. Rebecca Urick. Thomas Kenneth Wolf. Brian Charles Welch. Guniz Ibrahim. Alice Margaret Barsky. Jolie Leung. Caleb G. Oliver. Benjamin Wackerman. Peter Foster. Jacob Schlesinger. Nadine Chen. Roshana Krishnappa. Mia Elaine Villegas. Brianna Estevez. Samantha Provanche. Sarahi Stoddard. Matthew Jefferson Adams Wu. Allison Nicole Bertolozzi. Carly Rue. Nicole Levi. Benjamin Deitch. Robin Sheila Kazamani. Alexander T. Dow. Sophia Rose Bordowski. Jennifer Ann Lesserman. Angela Lee. Christina Heiler. Bryn Doyle. Benjamin M. Moraine. Emma Rose Bradhauer. Nicholas Cardone. Colin Young. Jennifer Moo. Isabel Yuan. Juin Ashley Kim. Rachel Goldberg. Julia Boscheman. Maya Valuru. Grace Yejin Song. Lindsay Kim. Emily Okabe. Irene Chang. Chelsea Sung Ah Chan. Sophia Ann Harrison. Simone Chu. Erica Zhen. Jessica Yvonne Merritt. Sophia Hera Lee. Megan Tao. Colin H. Wynn. Noah D. Kim. Tiffany Shu. Claudia A. Louis. Lauren Fan. Megan Antonia Seisler. Mairead Allback. Jack Bistritz. Lal Bilgile. Michelle Sophie Solarchik. Tala Rasem Ansari. Molly Rose Krause. Anna Doll Higgins. Olivia Taylor Hauserman. Karen Ann Maudsley. Maximilian Minnie T. Brooke Bailey Perrin. Victoria Ashley Ahmad. Cole Rossi. Emma K. Greenlee. Catherine M. Davis. Kainat Abbas. Gabrielle Silberman. Lauren Amber Matiz. Derek Shao. Ian Alexander Finley. Caitlin Marie Autry. Nicole Omololami Adekoya. Leela Raquel Hatcher. Shaya Shamsian. Matthew Corwin. Karis William Newman. Catherine Yang. Jillian Kathleen Norton. Christopher David Scharf. Alexandra Holland. Avery Brogel. Ashley Maria Bustamante. Bridget Kelly Guillen. Kelly Alyssa Chu. Madison Sarah Zill. Priyal Thakral. Kalisa Lee To. Shannon Chow. Jesse F. Wu. Kelly M. Sito. Paul Chan-young Lee. Kia Kahen. Omkar Ratnaparki. Tarun Santi. Carson Triguero. Haley Mark. Melissa Schneider. Dustin James Pokorny. Isabella Robakovsky. Nathan M. Haddad. Coley Julius Goren. Chance King. James Paul Maniscalco. Alan Nobel. Michael Shin. Steve Samaru. Suhail Singh. Domenic Jacob Reyes. Alexis A. Johnson. Taher Ruma. Asta Sharma. Roxy Amirazizi. Elise Eckert. Harold Dong-Yeon Sir Jr. Christine Patricia Yvonne Desbois. Jordan Noah Brown. Michael E. Ingram. Parsa Tafazoli Yazdi. Sina Karam Shanizadeh. Aliyar Bani Hashemi. Pallavi Adapa. Simon Gregory Lockard. David Garibian. Michael J. Cox. Marcelino Shiref Loza. Sadie Alexandra Soholt. Tyler Levine. Sipan Beglarian. Derek A. Giorgio. Ariana Maria Benitez Colon. Andrea Osborne Lee. Delaney Arth. Rachel Beck. Holly Chevelle. Jackson Kushner. Carter Matthew Briglia. Jeremy C. Gartland. Nathan Abernathy. Edward A. Mualem. Stephanie Akpa. Natalia Rojas. Fletcher Francis Warren. Amalia Jake. Olivia Ohanian. Kevin Frank Thompson. Samantha Elizabeth Abril. Laurel Elizabeth Malone. Sophie Zarkesh. Emily Catherine O'Sullivan. Catherine Lily Sunada. Eva Marie Finley. Michaela Jacobson Shoptaw. Amanda Ray White. Campbell Shear. Mia Danielle Katz. Olivia Corner. Connor Winston. Jacob A. Wiley. Chloe Layla Rastegar. Gabriella Nicole Roseman. Nicole Eliza Barish. Margaret Elizabeth Hill de Baradine. Mayonawe Angeline Tolles. Alana S.D. Johnson. Charles Reese. Yi Hua Jin. Si Wen Su. Alina Shirui Zhang. Rebecca Rabanian. Alexis B. Stoll. Janice Kim. Madeline Rose Horner.
Neely Alavi.
We have two final JD degrees to confer. Jacob Ma and Evelyn Moradian. Okay. To all of our guests here, no, wait, okay. We're good? Okay. All right. All right. So to all of our guests here in person and online, it gives me great pride, and indeed it is my honor, to introduce the USC Gould School of Law, Class of 2025. Congratulations.